Okay, sure. Us. This weekend, but I don't know. Yeah, so they're rescheduling it again.
Hi, Jessica. Can you just do me a favor and check your mic, turn it on and speak?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yep, perfect. You can mute and go off camera until we start if you'd like.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Madison Public Schools Board of Education open, and let's rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So the first order of business is our school and community session. Do we have any public participation?
So
Online?
so the Board of Ed welcomes public comment at our meetings if you're joining us in person or online. Online, we ask you just raise your hand if you'd like to speak. You please identify yourself by name and address, and comments are limited to 3 minutes. It should not be expected that the board or administration will respond, but the member of the public may be contacted for follow-up. We do not have anyone in person. Is there anyone online who would like to speak? If so, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, and next we move on to our Board of Education student representatives reports. Grace and Kat. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a pretty big update since it's been a few weeks since we last met. A few schedule changes on Wednesday. So tomorrow we will have Wellness Wednesday, which gives students an hour away from academics to reconnect with the student body. I really value Wellness Wednesday because I don't have a lunch. So it gives me the opportunity to reconnect with my friends, see how their weekend went, things like that. And then next Tuesday, February 3rd, is going to be a half day due to parent-teacher conferences. And during the day, it's going to be a career fair, which Miss Coyle has organized with different employees across Connecticut. It's mainly geared towards the junior class, but it's open to the senior class as well. They get exposed to different paths. And then on February 14th, during advisory, a cell phone survey is going to be sent out to high schoolers regarding their opinion on cell phone usage during the school day. And that survey, I believe, has also been sent out to the parents for their feedback. And then on Wednesday, tomorrow, I believe, is the orchestra concert at 7:30. And then on January 10th and 11th was the Vibe Cabaret. It was completely sold out for all 3 shows, which is really exciting. But I went, it was such a treat. It was really engaging. They spent so many time and resources into that performance that it was definitely really rewarding to watch. And then a few students have been working on creating a World Language Honor Society at hand. It will be the only other honor society aside from National Honor Society. And it's aimed to give recognition towards students who really prioritize global learning and being proficient in a second language. And then Mr. Salutary said that I had to share this with the board. But a few months ago, I mentioned that I was a semifinalist for the Coca-Cola Foundation, and since then I've progressed as a regional finalist. So now it's thank you. Thank you. It's down to 250 students nationwide out of an original 107,000. Wow. And there's actually only 3 from Connecticut. So I interviewed on Saturday, and I'll hear back during the first week of February, but definitely honored to be recognized this far. Thank you. Okay. So great.
Really wanted to brag, right?
Yeah.
But that is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The school counseling department has been really busy. They've had a lot going on they have 15-minute meetings with all of the students from 9th to 11th. You guys don't do this anymore because course selections, they don't have them anymore. It's my last one. But each counselor meets with their student for 15 minutes just to talk about what courses they're interested in, what courses they want to take, what kind of credits they have to fulfill for graduation, as well as just having your teachers sign off on things and having your counselor sign off. So everyone will be all set to go by this Friday. Actually, they're due, so I have to get mine in. I'm happy about that now. And then each counselor also meets with the junior class. We have junior meetings. Those are an hour long with parents and the their child or the guardian. And you just go over any type of plans for your future, talking about senior year as well, again, kind of going over credits. I just had mine recently. It's definitely scary to think about, talking about college or any plans I have for the future. Really put everything into perspective, how like things are moving so fast. So I know a lot of juniors found those extremely helpful though. And so that has been really busy. And all of the counselors have actually all gone over to Polson as well, more than once, to talk to the 8th grade class about course selection, and which was a really unique opportunity because all of the 8th graders were able to ask the counselors at hand any type of questions they were wondering about taking their classes, what type of credits they would need, and all of the classes that are available at hand that would be, in their interests. And then the 8th grade class, which is the class of 2030, crazy to think about, also had their freshman orientation on January 14th, where they got to just I believe it was the parent and guardians plus all of the 8th grade students got to get a feel for the school. The staff kind of gave them a rundown of what their high school experience will be like, and got a tour of the school, and it was very well attended. And a lot of people found that as a super helpful experience for all the 8th graders to get introduced to hand. And it's perfect timing actually for the counselor administration because they have been working super hard, and I believe it's February 2nd to February 6th is Counselor Appreciation Week. So hopefully the students can find nice ways to show their appreciation and support for the counselors who have been doing a lot of work, especially recently. They do a lot of work for the students, but they've been very busy recently. So hopefully we can find some ways to show our appreciation for them.
Catherine, when's the appreciation day, please?
It's
Counselor-
a week. It's February 2nd through February 6th.
Thank you.
Of course.
My neighbor Cindy Scarsden.
Oh.
I want to say I appreciate her.
Yeah.
She's
Thanks for all your great updates.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions?
Congratulations. Thank you.
I'd just like to say congratulations to Grace,
Thank you.
because I know that you were also selected as the Madison Exchange Club Student of the Month for the month of January. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Wrapping them up. Awesome.
Okay, I don't know if you guys need to go so that you can rehearse for your next interview or something.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Write your stuff for Friday. Don't
Yeah,
forget.
get your stuff done
Friday.
Okay, next is the superintendent's report, Dr. Cook.
Yes, so a couple of quick things as well as the updates listed on the agenda. Pleased to report that our longest budget item that we work on each year has passed the CIP committee. So our CIP, which we start working with over the summer and typically passed by the board in September. We had 3 runs of it this year, which is not atypical. We came back and made some reductions and did some other prioritization. So that has passed the CIP committee on Monday morning. So we're pleased about that and moving those projects forward. Also want to point out that the facilities committee on March 24th will feature a very detailed report on the Polson construction update. So that is one of my updates. So we'll start sharing more information, but Ben and Peter are planning to be there on the 24th to share detailed updates on the Polson. And I mentioned that too, because even though the work is not starting till May, we have disrupted some traffic patterns by having construction materials delivered to the school, and Catherine Hart communicated that to the families. And everything's been going well on that, but it's exciting to see that work to start to progress, and it's going to be a great project for us. There is a part of the website that tracks that information. So if you want to send anybody to that, it's on our main page, and it's also accessible through the Polson site. So you can see what's happening in that Polson, and we'll update that with pictures as we go, because there's pretty major construction happening, obviously in the auditorium and then throughout the building to bring air conditioning, and then in the field house gym to also bring air conditioning there and a modernized gym facility. So very, very exciting project. That's the third leg of our past referendum from years ago. So that's really, really great to get to that point. I also wanted to share, as our students did, cell phone survey has been sent out. We're asking all parents in the district to complete one for each of their children. So as of now, we have about 1,000 families that have completed a survey. So only 1,500 more to go. So, but that's a great start. And so we'll do some reminders this week of that as well. And then, as mentioned, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders will do this in February. So we'll have all the students do this all at once. So get good returns from the students, and then teachers at Daniel Hand were also asked to complete that. And we had good returns as of Friday. I haven't looked at that this week, but we had good returns almost in the same day. In terms of health insurance update, I had shared previously, and one of the reasons we asked for the board to wait till tonight to act on the budget was we were hoping for good health insurance numbers or any type of change to the positive area, but we did not get that information last Friday, as I shared. So we're sticking with the numbers that we have, and we do feel comfortable with those numbers, but no good news to share that would help lower our budget. And I will share, continuing to hear as more districts come in, the health insurance number that we're seeing is not unique, and then certainly our total number is on the lower side that I've seen so far still. So wanted to share that information with you tonight. That is one last piece. I mentioned to the board they may want to watch last night's Board of Selectmen meeting on the facilities plan. So the ad hoc facilities committee presented. Just want to remind the board and then share for anybody maybe watching online. I did speak to the committee, and I participated as the superintendent. I was very aware of my role in this, and that I do not have authority to move anything forward. I will say, we're excited about other possibilities. Our current location works as well. And so our priorities would be the Polson project, work that needs to happen at Brown, things like that. So, but we're definitely participating in those conversations in town. I want to share that with the board, because I know that information was shared last night about the school's interest, and certainly the central office could use some more space, but also I think as we do with our operating budget as well as our capital budget, everything goes forward to students first, and then we consider central office next. So but again, exciting conversations in town, and happy to be part of those. That is it, unless there's any questions.
I didn't know if you wanted to share anything about that the meeting you had.
Oh, so as a school district, we're excited as much as we are able to participate in the Madison 200 celebration. So we met with the leaders. Marion wasn't able to join us, but Zoe and I met with the leader of that organization, and so we've reached out to our music department to see what types of opportunities there would be for students to be involved, and we're kind of working through that. Everything will probably happen. Will happen after school's out. So, in terms of a school involvement, it will be a little harder. But I will say they have lots of great plans to involve the children at Madison, which are obviously our students, and so great events and better fireworks. A lot of great celebrations that will happen this summer. So we're looking forward to following up with the committee, and Marianne's on the committee, and shares information with us as well. So thank you.
And Craig's gonna write the songs.
He should sing the song.
Marianne promised she would sing if I really.
I don't know, roll for AI right now.
Okay.
All right, unless there are any other questions for Craig, then we'll move on to the next item. Thank you, which is board member comments. I'd like to open these by making a brief announcement. CABE, the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education, is pushing this year to have liaisons from each board, from each member board. And Jessica Wineland has stepped up and volunteered to take that role. She has already attended a couple CABE events and she expressed excitement about CABE. So she got tagged with the role. So I wanted to just let you guys know and share my appreciation to Jessica for that. It's really just going to be making announcements for CABE at meetings or trying to pass along information from time to time so that the board chair doesn't always have to be the one to do it. Jessica, thank you very much for stepping up to do that. Appreciate it. That's it for me. Do any other board member comments? No. Thank you very much. We'll move on to audience response to information presented. Do we have any audience? You do not. Okay. So now we'll move into our board, committee, and liaison updates. And this is probably where we would add in the CABE liaison for a report on the agenda in the future. If there's anything to report on. Curriculum and Student Development Committee, Kathy.
We haven't met. No report.
Okay. Facilities Committee, Emily.
Same, we've not met, no report today.
Okay. Finance Committee, Galen. Ditto. Personnel Committee, Maureen.
Same.
Same. Yeah, it's that time of year, like all the meetings slow down. Policy Committee, Diane.
No report, have not met.
Okay, thank you. Boy, that's a quick committee report. Learn Liaison, Galen, has there been a meeting?
I have a 16-page report.
We have not met. We have to fill in time. Right. Okay, well, why not keep a perfect record? There you go. Okay, so then we move into our action item part of the agenda. And tonight, we have the solemn duty to carry out one of our most important tasks, and that is to discuss and take action on the 26-27 recommended budget. Do I have a motion? I guess, we want to, I'll ask for a motion first and then we can discuss. Do I have a motion to approve the 26-27 recommended budget of $67,589,794, which represents a 4.24% increase in spending over the previous year?
So moved.
By Emily, thank
Second.
you. Seconded by Kathy, thank you both. All right, discussion. Any discussion? Yes, we have Diane who's online. Diane, go ahead.
So, as I brought up at a previous workshop for the budget, I really think that the budget is pretty tight, but we know that this is a bigger increase in the total overall budget line than we've had in years. And I think it's our duty to try to make it as lean as possible. And I think we have gone through a lot of the different line items of the budget, and there's not a lot of wiggle room. But I feel like any attempt at reducing the budget that we can do with good conscience, we should. And so when I look at the AP line item, we had, I'll review the notes from the last meeting that we had. The first year that we did AP prep, the pilot year was 22-23, and the administration requested 30,000. We approved 15. I forgot what we actually used that year. I think it's in our packet, but I just don't have it. We used 75.68, which means we didn't use 74.32. Then the next year, which was the 23-24 year, they requested 15, and we approved 15, and they utilized 91.74. Unused was 58.26. So that was a pretty good usage year. That was the second year of the program. Then the AP prep for 24-25, they requested 30,718. We approved 15. They utilized 7,403, which is down a couple thousand from the year before, which means unused was 7,597. So the AP prep for this year, 25-26, they requested 15. We approved 15, and we will see after this spring what was utilized. So I have some thoughts about this program, and we already talked about some of the constraints on it, about how it's difficult to get all of the AP courses covered in the AP prep. It's not something that the teachers are required to do, that they do if they can, if they're able to make the time for it. I know that a lot of the teachers do. And of course, there's going to be, time constraints on the students for utilization as well. So there's many factors, right, as to why it's not being completely utilized. And, again, I would say I completely support this program. I wish we could have it more consistent for all of the courses for the students. And I have some thoughts on that, but it's not like really budget related, but I'll get to that. So looking at the usage and looking at the overall budget, and I know that Seth had said in our previous workshop, like by reducing it from 15 to 10, is $5,000 really like that significant? Is it going to make that much difference? And I would say, if the town said to you, well, you can pay like $100 less for your taxes this year, does it make a huge dent in what you pay? No. But is it always nice to not pay as much as you were? Yes. And I feel like it shows that we've really dug deep, trying to find even a small cut where we can. And if the usage is huge this year, we could probably find a line item transfer to cover if it goes above and beyond. Although I know Dr. Cook did say that they will never try to go over what is budgeted, but I think it's, well within the limits of what they've been using historically. I would love to see the program expanded. And although this is not a budget, like would not impact this budget, I have thoughts on that of maybe we could, find a more consistent time for the teachers and the subjects to get more subjects covered and more teachers, even if, we offer it to our teachers first. And if they are unavailable, then, ask for other certified teachers who can, do the prep for the AP courses or ECE or whatever. And then, our Madison students wouldn't have to pay for it because it's covered in our budget. But if we determine that there's room in the classrooms for the review, that we could open it up to surrounding towns, juniors and seniors who take the AP and charge them a small fee, just something to think about, expanding the program to get our students able to attend more, to increase their experience and exposure to AP tests, etc. So anyway, that's just an aside. But I do know that in the past, having gone through this budget 6 times, the budget season, I do know that the Board of Finance feels that sometimes, I think I've been accused of by some people that the Board of Ed is not really doing any cuts. They're sort of like rubber stamping the budget that comes from the administration. And I would say that we don't do that. But when we don't make any cuts or attempt to make any cuts or say, well, let's just wait for Board of Finance to tell us what to do, I feel like we're not being responsible. And so if we can make any cuts, I feel like we should. So I am asking for a $5,000 cut in the budget line to remove that $5,000 from the AP.
Thank you, Diane. Any responses to that or any other discussion points? I mean, I'll say pretty much what I said at the workshop when this came up. The AP test preparation program has been wildly successful, maybe not in terms of, full usage of the allotted resource that we make available through the budget, but definitely in terms of results. And we were given data, which we have in our packet, to support that. And really, it's been more well advertised last year, and probably again will be this year. And really, that $5,000 is left to the vagaries of whether 13 more kids sign up or something. I mean, we fill 2 more classes, that could be that could really make a difference, is having that additional money, not having pressure at the end of the year in the spring to try and find line item transfers from somewhere else. So in terms of and I take your point, Diane. I understand that there are people in our community who probably assume, without having knowledge of how it works, that the Board of Ed just rubber stamps our superintendent's budgets. The fact is, our superintendent, our finance director, our building administrators, our department heads, all work very hard to bring in, and this is not an argument point to you, this is more just for public knowledge, and maybe for the Board of Finance, if there are Board of Finance members who feel that way and have expressed that in the past. All those folks that I mentioned, and Galen, our finance chair, and the finance committee, they all work very hard to try and find savings, to do creative planning, so that we can do more with less. And it's really kind of impressive. And I think you even, you admitted this in effect in your statement. It's kind of impressive how every year we basically start with zero basis budgeting, and build up from there. What do we need? What do we not need this year? What can we put off another year? And in addition to that, we have, for really almost the whole last decade, delivered unbelievably trim budgets and increasingly excellent value and student um, uh, performance, that I think in a tough year, when we're getting whacked for the first time in a long time with a higher health insurance experience than we've experienced recently. Um, I think that the town and the Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen can recognize that we really budget in good faith, that we do try to find and eliminate pockets of money that we don't need, that all goes into the process before we get to this meeting. And we come to this meeting in good faith with a strong budget that doesn't have fat baked into it, to use a common term. And the money we're asking for, we really in good faith feel we need. And then again, at the end of every year, because we run such a good ship, we even, we may end up with money at the end, but that's only because we're keeping our eye on the ball and finding additional ways to save along the way. And truth be told, if you cut it too thin, and we have to run, every month for a special appropriation, I could see the taxpayers of Madison getting very tired of that. We've delivered great value. If we do get cut, I have no problem with looking at that particular line item and saying, well, okay, maybe this isn't the year that we can afford it if we have to make uncomfortable cuts that cut into program for students, educational program. But that might be a good first place to start. But I would rather throw our good faith at the mercy of the Board of Finance in this tough year with our explanations as to how we got to where we got, and let them make a determination if they agree or not, and hopefully they will. That's my feeling on it, and to just cut by $5,000 for the sake of saying that, we should show good faith that we've cut. I think we already show good faith by coming in with good budgets all the time, so that's my feeling. If there's anyone else who wants to say something, and then I'll get back to Diane.
I agree.
And then Diane.
Well, as always, I think Diane makes great points. Generally, we only ask for what we need from the Board of Ed. I think that's evidenced by the fact that our budget requests or increases are far below neighboring towns and comparable districts. The proposed increase of 4.24%, of that, about 3.75% is contractual increases. So the discretionary aspect is maybe 105,000 or so. So from that perspective, you could say, well, cutting 5% of that would be a 5% cut of discretionary income. That's certainly not nothing when you look at it from that perspective. I mean, on the other hand, 5,000 plus or minus is very small. So I think if we have additional demand, we'll always be able to find the funds for it. I guess I would prefer to keep the 5,000 in, but if it's 5,000 cut, I'm okay with it. I think the first three facts kind of frame it.
I agree, but don't you think by putting it out the way it is, we know everybody worked hard to get where we got on it. And then just what Seth said, when you go to the town, if we need to then cut back, that would be one place where we could look to see if we need to, the town wanted us to cut.
I do want to get back to Diane. Thank you all. These are good comments, all of them.
So I would just make the point that when we started with the non-lapsing fund, in 23-24, we returned 141,000 and change, and then dispersed 121 for the Brown School pre-K conversion. So if you look back, and I don't have all the numbers, and I don't think it's really necessary to have all the numbers, and we all know that we can't go over budget ever. That's a known. But every year we have extra, and it's usually, I think, about, if I remember correctly, between like 120 to 200,000 extra that either we decide to put in the special education fund, which I believe currently has 350,000 in it, which we don't touch because that is for like emergencies during the school year for special education specifically. So I get that that's a very good place to put extra funds, but we did use other funds that we put in the non-lapsing fund, and we used it for other things. And I believe the most recent one was the baseball fields. So knowing that every year we have anywhere from 120 to 200,000 extra that we put in these funds, removing 5,000 now, I don't think is such a huge stretch to say. And again, I would say, I would hope that, the Board of Finance, after hoping that they watched our meeting or know that we discussed, would take into consideration the fact that if we decide to remove 5,000 from the budget, and like Galen said, the part that of the 4.24% that is contractual is, I believe, 2.18, and then the health insurance is another 1.83, which leaves 0.23% that you could actually do something with, right? But we have other expenditures that the cost went up. So when you look at 0.23% of the total budget of 67,589,794, that's 155,456. So taking 5,000 from that, to Galen's point, does look like something. And it is something that we can do comfortably, I think. And based on the history of the AP prep, I don't think it's going to hurt the program because it's not in full utilization. It hasn't been from the beginning. And in fact, last year's was even half. So you're talking about, unused funds of about 7,500. of the 15 that we allotted. So we'll see what it is this year, but I'm guessing that we'll have extra from that too. And my guess is it'll be over 5,000. So maybe it'll prove me wrong. I mean, I certainly don't want the students to not use it. I would encourage all of them to use it, but I understand there are constraints to the program. I just think in good faith that we should reduce it 5,000 and not leave it to the Board of Finance to tell us, you got to make some cuts. I strongly feel that they're going to come back to us and say, you need to make more cuts, because I don't think, our taxpayers want an increase. Nobody really wants an increase, and I'm not saying that this budget is by any means, fat, or certainly not. Our administration has always been very lean with the budget. Then they didn't ask for wants, they asked for needs, and we appreciate that. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't look for some cuts. And I think, if we do decide to take 5,000, which I think we comfortably can, that the Board of Finance would also take a look at that if they decide to ask us to reduce more, knowing that we reduced some. And I think it's our responsibility, if we see something that is not being used, to cut it.
I'm not comfortable cutting it for a variety of reasons, but I also recall that there were things that you would have included in this budget, right, Greg, that you didn't, which tells me that this very small amount towards the AP test prep you see as valuable. And I mean, you could have chosen the other things, right? So there's a reason you included this and not other items.
Right, and as been said, it's an account that, because it's based on hourly, we never would set up to go over. And so oftentimes in January or February, it does look like we're going to spend much closer to 15,000. And then as life happens and students aren't able to attend, or a teacher has something come up where they don't have the session, or maybe they don't even feel like the session is needed. They get far enough in the class or the prep that they don't feel that the session is needed. So they cancel those. And I think that they watch, just like, all of our accounts, very closely to make sure we're not overexpending. But yes, there's lots, and even some that have, cropped up. I mean, paper plate was a big one, near and dear to Stacy's. In my heart right now is our snow budget. I had shared prior to this storm, we were over budget on snow. And so thankfully we've planned ahead, and they bought, all the salt that they needed, we believe for the season, and and prepared. And we're always going to remove the snow. We're not going to say we're going to wait it out because we run out of money. So we do have to find other savings for that. And I will also say, with Stacy and I leading the budgeting piece, we're always going to look to end on, about 0.5%. Like, we would not feel comfortable, because we can't go over. I've never gone over, in 12 years as being a superintendent and doing budgeting. We're not going to go over. So it's always going to land, short of that. And I think that's the right way to budget. So we make tough decisions, or we hold off, we don't approve purchases, we freeze POs at certain times to make sure that happens. And then, we look at the end of the year when we know, because what we have really in our head that could happen is we could feel that we're landing very close to zero on June 30th. And then there's a bill that was unexpected, or electricity was higher than we anticipated. And suddenly we're short. It might not be short a lot of money, but that still triggers a process where we have to go back and ask for funds. And, we don't have a credit card to whip out and pay for it and then just pay it off next month. We would have to go to the town and ask for $5,000 if we were over $5,000. So we just never want to be in that position. Very well may happen. There could be things that happen, for our school district, that we could be in that position someday. And I know other districts, certainly are find themselves in that position. And doesn't mean that, we're any better at budgeting than them, than they are. But it really is something we watch, very closely, and hold our administrators' feet to the fire to stay within their accounts. I think that explains partly why you see some that are lower, and then you see some like transportation or snow removal that are gonna be higher on years based on just what's going on that year. So things out of our control, but that allows us to transfer monies, to cover those costs and not have to ask the town.
Any other comments? If not, I have a procedural comment.
I think Diane does.
Oh, Diane, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Jessica was first.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Thanks, Diane.
That's good.
I just a couple of comments. I think we all take our job as being good stewards of financial resources, very seriously. But I also think it's important to zoom out a little bit. And based off of the data I was able to pull on the number of households from the most recent census data, this $5,000 amounts to about 72 cents per household as an increase in taxes. And to me, it seems like as a taxpayer for an additional 72 cents, I would rather decrease the administrative burden, transferring money around and know that our students have access to this money should they need it. And I also think that it's part of our job as board members to help the town understand this budget and contextualize that we're actually, significantly below some of our peer districts this year. I understand this is a larger increase than what Madison is used to, but given the health insurance issue, given our contractual obligations, I think it's a pretty responsible budget.
Diane?
So I have a question for Craig. Correct me if I am wrong, but I believe at the budget workshop, you indicated that you would be okay with a $5,000 cut at the AP.
Yes, I indicated if you needed to cut, if that was one area that you felt you needed to cut, that would be something you would do. I mean, we'll strive again, even this year, whatever the outcome may be, to try and spend up to the 15,000. But no, I did say that when asked.
Okay, so procedurally, we have a motion on the floor that's been made and seconded to vote on the budget as presented. In order to remove $5,000 per Diane's suggestion, I would need a motion to amend and a second to that motion. Then we would discuss that and vote on that. So here's your opportunity, Diane.
So I would make the motion to reduce the budget by 5,000. I'll let you do the math. Well, actually, it's a motion to amend, not like a second motion.
Yeah, motion to
Yeah.
amend to reduce by $5,000. And specifically by reducing the AP test. But we can do line item reductions, whereas the Board of Finance can't, so we can add that in. The motion to amend to reduce by $5,000 the proposed budget. By reducing the AP test prep line in that amount. Motion is made by Diane. Seconded by Lisa. All right, so open discussion for what we have been discussing
Just a
already.
motion to add it, or is that a motion to vote on it?
Motion to amend, to add it,
Right, okay.
to amend it, and then we vote on
Right,
whichever version. If this passes, we vote on it
okay.
with 5,000 fewer dollars.
Okay.
If it fails, then we vote on the budget as presented by the superintendent. Any other further discussion? We don't need to necessarily beat the horse. So, all right,
And
so
I'll just say, I think it's a good budget as is. It's $5,000 is not a deal breaker for me. It's just.
I would agree with that. I think it's a good budget as is, and cutting the $5,000 just to cut $5,000 to cut something. I think we need it in
I
there.
mean, we could cut it,
We could, but
Well, it's $5,000 that is not annually spent.
right?
I'm sorry, Diane, can you repeat that?
I said it's not cutting just to cut. It's cutting money that is annually not spent and therefore not used. That's every year since we started the program. All the money has not been used. So historically speaking, we're not using all the money that has been allotted to that particular line item. And I don't, although I agree that line item transfers are necessary for overall budgeting, we should not be building in extra money to line items to use it to transfer to other areas. That's not how you budget.
And for that reason, I'd be afraid that if we have a bunch of extra students stepping up this year, we'd have to find the money through a line item
And how many
transfer.
years have we done this? This is the third, the fourth?
Fourth
Year.
year.
So we really don't even have a really good handle on exactly how many kids might be using it. I mean, this year might be a different year too.
Is
They're
this
not-
year's,
Take things out that we might need at some point.
Emily and then Diane.
I would just say this is a service we want more students to take advantage of, right? And so it benefits the students, it benefits the district for students to take advantage of this service. So maybe we haven't had full utilization in the past, but I think we can continue to look to increase utilization of this benefit for students.
I don't have the numbers, but I would ask, so looking at this year's juniors, they would be next year's seniors that would possibly utilize the AP program. Historically speaking, less seniors than juniors take AP courses and sit for the AP exam. So the utilization of the AP program is in preparation for the AP exam given in May, typically. So this year's junior class, whatever the utilization was of the juniors, I would expect to be less as seniors next year. So then we would be looking at the current sophomores to see what do we expect their utilization to be. Is the sophomore class currently total numbers less than the junior class this year? Because if you look at total numbers, right? If this year's seniors, if their class is bigger than the junior class and they're graduating out, then the junior class total numbers, those that will take the AP exam are going to be lower. And then if you look at the next sophomore class, if their total numbers are lower than the junior class, then again, overall utilization will be lower. And I think then the worry about it being too close to what we're using is not really going to happen.
That could be 3 more students. There, Diane,
Yeah.
according to the SLAM projection, we're projected to have 3 more juniors next year out of this sophomore class.
And the current junior class is more than, equal to, or less than the current senior class.
Yes. Well, next year, 187 minutes,
So
same
this
3
year's
more.
junior.
3 more. They would have had 3 more going from juniors to seniors, and we will have 3 more going from sophomores to juniors. So a net of 3 more, without a loss projected compared class over class.
And, you know, the only data that we didn't have was the percentage of those that take the AP classes that actually take the AP exam, divided by, or sorted rather, by junior versus senior. Because I think we can all agree that less seniors sit for AP exams for a variety of reasons. So it was just, I just figured if we had some data, it might provide some more information.
Well, the data we just looked up together shows more or less no change, except for a tiny bump of 3 additional students that are expected to make up the pool of the larger group of kids that may take AP tests next year. For what that's worth for anybody's personal feelings on the motion. All right, I think let's call the question on the motion to amend. So again, this is a motion to amend to reduce by $5,000 the proposed budget by reducing the AP test prep line in that amount. So if you're voting aye, then you are voting to reduce the superintendent's proposed budget by $5,000. And then move that forward to the board vote with a reduced budget amount. If you vote nay, then you're voting to keep it the same as the superintendent's proposed budget without reducing it, and then we move it on to a final vote of the board unchanged. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
2 ayes, all opposed, nay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any abstentions? 1, okay, so 2, 6, 1. All right, so that amendment fails. And now we will open for further discussion. The motion to pass and approve the superintendent's recommended budget without changes, which is the current motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the 2026-2027 recommended budget of $67,589,794, representing a 4.24% increase in spending, say aye. Aye.
I,
One, keep your hands up, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any opposed? Any abstentions? 1 abstention, okay. Do we have 9? Are we missing someone? No.
Lisa.
Lisa, did
You miscount?
Wait a minute, I didn't understand that, Seth. I thought when we did the first vote, I said yay.
Yes.
To the $5,000.
To the $5,000
cut,
that
right.
failed, that amendment failed.
Right.
So then we were voting on the unchanged budget. Because that was a motion to amend the budget, that failed, so then
Okay.
we were voting on the budget as presented to us by the superintendent.
Okay,
In the full amount.
okay.
I think you need to call the vote again.
I'm sorry?
Because Lisa, did you vote the second time?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you gotta
wanna
call the
cast
vote
your
again.
now?
Yeah,
How would you like to vote?
can I abstain?
Sure. You can.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so the count is 7 in favor, 2 abstentions. Vote carries. Thank you very much. We have a budget. If we can keep it. I just need to record this appropriately. Okay. Next action item, I need a motion to approve an international trip to Germany in the summer of 2026. We have the materials in our packet. Do I have a motion from Kathy? Second by Mary Ann, we'll give you that one, got it in quickly. Any discussion?
it's great.
Yeah, it does. Looks fun. I want to go. Wunderbar. All right, all in favor, aye. All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries 9-0. Thank you. Action item 10. I need a motion to approve the following curriculum units. Conceptual astronomy units 1 and 2. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Emily? Do I have a second? Kathy? Thank you both. Any discussions? Again, the information on these courses was in our packet. They look exciting, interesting. Far out, literally. Out of this world.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, oh.
I've been waiting for my dad joke moment. All right, all in favor of the motion, not of my joke. Aye. All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? All right, motion carries 9-0. Action item 11, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the January 13th Board of Ed meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Emily, do I have a second?
Second.
Kathy, thank you. Any recommended edits or amendments? Seeing none, all in favor, aye. All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries 9-0. Action item 12. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the January 20th Board of Education Budget Workshop. So moved. Galen? Do I have a second?
Second.
Mary Ann, thank you both. Any suggested amendments? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries 9-0.
Extension.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I missed you. All right, Lewis circled. 8-0-1. Lewis abstaining. Thank you, that passes. Item 13, any recommendations for future agenda items? We were at one point going to put an amended revised mission on the agenda. I was working with Craig to try and find a date to put that on there. We had, if you remember, after the recent after the September retreat, we had some recommended language that Steve Pinn had put in. And we're gonna bring that to a vote. So we were thinking about doing that in March 10th meeting. Okay. Any other future agenda item recommendations, requests? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:02.
So moved.
Secondly, seconded by, is that Kathy? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions. We are closed. Thank you.
Closed.